Smartphone usage is ubiquitous. Most of us have one, as well as lots and lots of different apps designed to help us be more productive. Unfortunately, smartphones and apps can also be an addiction. So in this video, I'll be sharing with you my experience attempting to detox from my smartphone, as well as minimize my usage going forward. So if this sounds interesting to you, please keep watching. Hello there, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hello, thank you for clicking onto this video. My name is Diana and I am the Joyful Dabbler, and on this channel I create all sorts of videos relating to minimalism, mindful living, and meditation. So if that sounds like something that might interest you, please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for your support as always. And now let's get on into the video. Let me tell you why I wish to do a detox. Does this sound familiar to you? You're waiting in line, or you're waiting at a stoplight, or anytime you have just a few minutes free. You reach down and you pick up that phone. We have this FOMO, this fear of missing out. We need to know what's going on in the world. We need to know what's going on with our friends. What are our enemies saying? What is going on in the world? And when waiting, we have this need to look busy. We're afraid to be caught by others not looking busy, looking idle. And unfortunately, when we have our heads buried in our phones all the time, we miss a lot of what's going on around us. For example, when we're at that traffic light and we look down at our phone, we may miss something that's going on right in front of us that creates an accident. In addition to this, I also knew that I spent a lot of time on my phone, way too much time. Anytime I wanted a mental break of any kind, long or short, my impulse was to pick up the phone. I wanted to see what was new. And unfortunately, as part of this, I was spending way too much time on my phone. Now, when you think of smartphone detox, here's what some people might do. They might exchange their smartphone for a flip phone, thereby getting rid of the smartphone completely. Now, I knew that this wasn't for me because there are some apps that I find legitimately useful. So some people might, instead of doing that, they might decide they're going to go on a social media break for 30 days or for 6 months or for some designated period. Now, that sounds great, but I knew that I couldn't fully go off social media, mainly because I post updates for the Joyful Dabbler, this channel, as well as my blog, on social media. So I knew that I couldn't completely cut it out. So what I decided to do is, instead of doing a full smartphone and social media detox, I decided to do a smartphone detox Lite. So how did I decide to start going about this? As a semi-religious Jewish person, I observe weekly Shabbat, a weekly day of rest. And as part of this, I tend to personally limit my smartphone usage, my social media usage, and my TV usage. And so, since I was already doing this weekly, I was already doing this for one day, I decided to basically just try to continue doing it. And after you do it for one day, it's a lot easier to continue doing that the next day. So here are some of the things that I did, some of the criteria that I had. First thing, I decided to treat my cell phone like a corded phone. So do you remember in the 90s and before, how before cordless phones even, we had the actual phone that was attached to the wall? So I decided to treat my cell phone like a corded phone. I went ahead and set it up in my bedroom, on my dresser, and that's where it stayed during the day when I was home. I wouldn't bring it throughout the house with me. It would not be sitting next to me. I would actually have to get up and go get it. Second thing, I decided to view certain things only on my computer, not on my phone at all. These included all social media, all email, as well as any web browsing, any internet. I decided to do all of this on my computer instead of on my phone doing it on the computer is less accessible. Doing it on the phone, you just pick it up and you go to the right app. And another really important one is I disabled all notifications on my phone other than phone calls as well as messaging apps, things that people use to actually get hold of me. So other than this, I disabled all notifications, all banner notifications, all badge notifications. You know those little numbers that you see on top of each app saying you have 100 unopened emails or you have 5 Facebook notifications? And once you see that, you have an automatic pull to go into that app, to check it, to see what's new. Getting rid of those badges and those notifications removed that pull. Now, if I picked up my phone and just flipped through the different home screens to see, oh, is there anything new to check? If I didn't see these little badges, I basically didn't see anything new on the phone. Therefore, I would just set it back down. There wasn't really a point. So, how did I do regarding all the requirements that I set for myself? Number 1, keeping the phone in one spot. This was definitely far less tempting. I discovered that whenever I felt I wanted to go check the phone, I had to decide, wait a second, why do I actually want to check the phone? Is it because I actually want to check something that's valid? Or do I just want to procrastinate or scroll? And lots of times it would be the latter. And I was like, okay, there's not really a point to me going and looking at the phone. Therefore, I decided not to, and I would continue to do whatever I was doing at the time. My requirement to check certain items only on the computer. So when I did this with email, previously, when I accessed email on my phone, I would just go into the app, and therefore I would access it multiple times a day, throughout the day, because it was so easy to do. When I accessed it on my computer only, I actually limited myself to twice a day to check email. Previously, I always felt compelled to check my email. But when I knew that I was only going to be checking it twice a day and no more, the invisible tether that was there, this tether began to release. Similarly, with social media, that urge to check it constantly, it's like a leash connecting you and the social media. So when I decided to check social media only from my computer, in actuality, I found this leash loosening. I would even find myself logging into social media, Facebook for example, seeing if there were any notifications of new activity, looking at them briefly to see if there was anything that actually interested me, scrolling for maybe a couple minutes, and then exiting out. I would actually find that I could go the entire day or multiple days in the case of some apps and realize that I hadn't checked it at all. And I realized that I didn't miss it. I wasn't missing anything. Sure, I might not be seeing every little thing that happens, but does that matter for my personal happiness? With one social media app, for example, with Nextdoor, I logged in just for a minute to see if there was anything new, and one of the first things that I saw was negative comments. And I was like, I don't need this. And I just exited right back out. Now, I said that I would limit my smartphone usage to just phone calls and messaging apps. Did I do this? No. I did allow myself to use a few apps that were actually helpful. These apps included my weather app, obvious reasons, my planner app, which had my calendar as well as daily tasks, my grocery list app, and my water tracker app. I use the Water Llama water tracker app to track how much water I am drinking each day. So other than these apps, I still limited my smartphone usage, but I did not limit it completely 100% to phone and messaging. Now, here's a benefit that I got from this that was unexpected. So I used to try to multitask all the time. If I was cooking in the kitchen, I would be listening to a YouTube video or a podcast. and not concentrating 100% on the cooking. If I was watching a webinar for education credits, I would want to be browsing the internet or doing something else at the same time. If there was one little part of my brain that wasn't fully occupied, I felt like I needed to do something else at the same time. But since the phone wasn't there next to me all the time, like it used to be, I didn't always have this option. Therefore, I had to learn how to, instead of multitask, single task. And as part of this, I learned how to actually focus much more on the task at hand. The thing is, when we multitask, we are not fully paying attention to either of the tasks that we're doing. And therefore, we're not doing as good a job with them as we could be. And we're not gaining that information and making it stick as well as we could be. So when I learned again to focus on just one thing at a time, things turned out so much better. With webinars, I was able to understand the information better and retain it better. With cooking, I might not burn something here or there because I'm actually paying more closer attention. So, what have I learned from this experiment? And how long have I done it? So at this point, I think I've done this for about a week and a half now. I've learned that I actually love not being tethered to my phone or my email or to social media. In fact, whenever I have to check it for some reason, I actually resent it. And I can go an entire day without even realizing that I haven't even checked social media. Number two, I read so much more now than I did before. Previously, I would spend a lot of time in the evening looking at my phone and catching up on all of the social media and everything that had happened during the day that I had missed out on. Now, I'm not doing that anymore. So, I'm reading instead. I also don't reach for my phone first thing in the morning when I wake up anymore. I get up, I go about my day. I read, I meditate, whatever, but I don't look at the phone for quite a while actually. I learned how to single task rather than multitask. So I've learned a lot from this experiment. So if you decide to do a smartphone detox, the full version, or if you decide to do a smartphone detox Lite like I did, I hope some of the strategies that I mentioned in this video can be helpful for you as well. Good luck in your detox journey. If you liked this video, please make sure to hit that thumbs up down below, as well as hit the subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again next time. Bye!